Hi all, good morning. Welcome to this class. In this class, let's see more things about classes and objects. In the past two previous classes, we are seeing, the features and the properties of classes and objects. In the previous class, we have experimented, all the points regarding classes and object. So what we have seen in the previous class, a quick recap. We have seen on employee class. So inside employee class, we have kept some of the properties of employee class, correct? We have kept only ID and what we are doing. So in this class, we have some instance methods also, correct? Some instance method, process and print method. And in the client class, what we have done, we have created two objects, correct? We have created two objects and we were playing with it, correct? We were playing with it. Okay. So we have called in different ways, right? So this is what we were doing in the previous sessions. So now let's go with our today's session. Consider our employee class has only one instance variable, correct? So as we seen, either it is instance variable or uh, you know uh, non-static variable, both are same. I can say instance members or non-static members, correct? So it has basically one instance method, one instance variable and two instance methods, correct? So in one instance method, what we are doing, we are having a method called print. Inside print, we are just printing. Process method, we are modifying some of the things. Okay, this is our Pojo class. Even in Java, they will be calling it as Pojo class. You can note down this point. So what I am telling this as a Pojo class, Pojo. They will tell it as plain old Java object. In our real time projects and all, if someone say this is the Pojo class means, you should understand that what is meant by Pojo class. Employee class means it will be having employee ID, some of the attributes and methods. Functionality wise, we are dividing it, correct? Functionality wise, we are dividing it. Employee class have all the properties and methods. Student class also, I can say it is a Pojo class, or you can say user class. All are Pojo classes, correct? Either it can be employee or student or user. All are Pojo class, right? Because it will be having set of properties, correct? So when we design a class, so we will be defining some of the properties, like employee means employee ID, name, salary, date of birth, company, all those things, correct? Suppose animal also, I can say it is a Pojo class. So everything, affiliate, I can say affiliate can have, correct? Affiliate can have a name and a membership type, correct? Points, membership points, there are many things. So all I can say Pojo class. What it means? Pojo class means it will be having, basically it will be having private attributes, getters and setters. We will see getters and setters later, but you can think about it. Pojo class means it will be having all the attributes with getters and setters, correct? So in core Java, you will be telling it as Pojo class, guys. Even if you want, you can note down this point also. In core Java, same class, correct? What you will be telling? You will be telling Pojo class. What about in Hibernate? In Hibernate, you will be telling this as a entity class. All are same, correct? Entity class. In Spring, you will be telling it as bean, correct? Bean class, correct? All are same. In Spring, you will be telling it as it's a bean. If someone says, hey, employee is a bean class, then you should understand it is nothing but it's a Pojo class. Correct? So the name only, the where we are telling that only differs. If someone says in Hibernate, hey, user is a entity class, this is the entity class, then you should know that this will be having all the properties, user ID, username, all the information related to user, and in correspondingly, even it will be having in the database, it will be having all those fields in the tables like user ID, username, correct? Everything it will be having. Same only we are telling it as entity class in Hibernate. In Spring, they will be telling it as bean class, correct? All these names are same. So we can, it depends upon the place where we are using it. So we can call it, okay? Now let's go back. So this is our employee class, right? What we have seen in the previous class, consider like we are having two attributes. I'm just plan to give quick recap. Okay, what we are doing? You are having employee one. How many objects we have created here? Listen carefully. How many objects we have created here? We have created two objects here, right? If you use new keyword, this is called object creation. We have seen this is long back. So when you are creating using new keyword, here we have created two objects. E1 is pointing first object, E2 is pointing second object. So E1 you have assigned 100, correct? What value you have assigned to E1? E1 you have assigned to 100, correct? What about E2? E2 you have assigned to 200, correct? E2 you have assigned to 200. Now, if I change using E1 reference, E1 dot ID, then first object only will be modified. Correct? These are the things we have seen in depth in yesterday's class. Here, two physical objects are there in the heap memory. E1 is pointing one object and E2 is pointing different object. Correct? Now, let's go ahead with our today's class. What I'm going to do is, I am going to create only one object. Okay, I'm going to create only one object. Consider I am having only one object. Okay, now what I do is, okay, what I do, I have only one object. Who is pointing? Employee E1 is pointing, right? Employee E1 is pointing. I used only one new keyword. So if I use only one new keyword, only one object is created, right? Only one object is created, correct? What I am doing here is, I have assigned e1 dot id equal to 100. Now if I print, what will be the value? I am calling print method. Inside print method, what we are doing? We are just printing the id, okay? We can just quickly run it in. We can just run and see the output. Okay, let's run it. See here what you are seeing. If you want, you can run it in debug mode quickly. So program execution started. Press F6, correct? So only one object is created. What is the ID value by default? It will be 0. Then we have assigned some value, correct? Going inside print method, printing 100 here, correct? It is printing 100. You can see the output parallelly in the console. Now print method exists, correct? In case if I have one more object, what will happen? In second object, it will be created. Even you can assign in the second object also. Our execution completed, correct? This is what we have seen in the previous classes. Now what I'm going to do is, listen little carefully. Only one object is created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more reference, employee obj. Correct. You can give any name, you can give any name, it doesn't matter. Even you can give e2 also. Consider, let's give to e2. What I am doing here, to not to confuse, let's give obj1 only. What I am doing here, can you able to understand how many objects here we created? I said like how we can create object using new keyword. How many new keywords we have used here in this program? Only one. It means only one object is created in line number 8. Correct. How many objects is created? Only one object. Correct. Only one object is created. So in the next line, what we are doing, I am assigning even reference variable also you can assign to another reference variable. Listen carefully. Even you can assign reference variable also to another reference variable. If I assign, what will happen? One new reference variable is created, and what will happen? That type is obj1. Correct. That type is obj1. Right. So what obj1 will do? Obj1 also will be pointing same object. obj1 also pointing same object. Why it is pointing same object? It is simple, because you have assigned e1 to obj1. Wherever e1 is pointing, same object obj1 also will point. Correct. Wherever e1 is pointing. Where is e1 is pointing? E1 is pointing one object. See, here only e1 is pointing, right? So when you are assigning e1 to obj1, correct, it's just like simple. Okay, let's go with this thing. We have already seen primitive data type, right? What you have seen? Consider int x equal to 100. Correct. You are assigning int y equal to x. What it means? So whatever x variable is holding 100, y also will be getting it, right? Both x and y both will be having same value. Same way here, when we are assigning, it's not like one more object will be created. No, only one object. Correct. Because you used only one new keyword, only one object. So only one object. So what happens? Only one object is created. You have assigned e1 reference to obj1. Correct. Now wherever e1 is pointing, obj1 also will be pointing. You can take the notes. Even we can assign one reference variable to another. One reference variable to another reference variable. Correct. Consider we are assigning here e1. Correct. We have assigned to obj1. So in this case, what will happen? Wherever e1 is pointing, or I can say whichever object e1 is pointing, after assignment, what will happen? obj1 also will be pointing same object. Correct. obj1 also will be pointing same object. Correct. obj1 also will be pointing same object. So here we have assigned one object reference to another object. Correct. So here only one physical object is created. That object is pointed by two references. Listen, only one object, two references are pointing. Correct. e1 also pointing same object, obj1 also pointing same object. But what is the rule? Rule should be both, because it is an employee object, right? What is this object type? It is simple. It is employee type. Correct. Object type is employee type, right? This is employee object. So employee object should be pointed by employee type reference. This is we have already seen it, right? Employee object should be pointed by employee type reference. See here, we have created on employee object, it is pointing by employee reference. Same way, when you are assigning a reference, both the reference should be same type or super type. Okay, that we will see. Second point we will see later, but for now you can understand. E1 also employee type, obj1 also employee type. Both the references, right? Listen here, both are references. Both are references. E1 also should be same type, obj1 also same type, because both are pointing employee type object. I think this also makes clear. Now what I do is, now listen, I am mentioning e1 dot id. How I am making change? E1 dot id 100 I am making it. Correct. If I call print method just prints id, right? So let's run. Just like previous example, you won't feel any difference. Now, suppose true e1 dot id we modified to 100. Now if I access obj1 dot id, what will be the output? If I access obj1.id, what will be the output? It will be 100 only, right? Because obj reference also pointing same object. Correct. Obj1 also pointing same object. Listen, let me move this. Let me take that print statement before. For understanding purpose, what I am doing, I am just printing e1 dot id. What should be the output? Let's run it. You can see the output 100. Correct. 100 output, can you able to see it? Yes, it is 100. Okay, so 100 is coming here. Now what I am doing is, I am trying to print obj1.id also. Listen, how I am printing? I am printing simple. This is e1.id. We are printing through e1.id. What I am doing? Second one I am printing obj1.id. What should be the output? It should be same because both the references are pointing same object, right? Both references are pointing same object. Let's run now. Control F11. See here, e1.id also pointing 100, obj1.id also pointing 100. Now listen carefully. I am going to change e1.id equal to 200. Again I am trying to print. What will happen? If any one of the reference true, if any one of the reference, if you are changing, even if you access other reference, now I am changing into 200. If I print now e1.id 200, obj1.id 200, because both are pointing same object, right? Let me rerun it. See here, after modifying I am printing it. Correct. Even you can modify using obj1 or obj1.id also, right? Doesn't matter, even you can modify any reference, you can modify through any reference you can modify, because both are pointing. If I use obj1.id equal to 300, what will happen? Through obj1 reference I am trying to modify 300. Correct. Now if I print e1.id, what will be the output? It will be 300. Let me again print again. Okay, let's rerun the program. It is very simple. Only we need to understand, you know, if you modify, the object value 3 through any reference, correct? through any reference, even other pointing reference also will be affected. Correct? Even other pointing reference also will be affected because the source is same, only one object. The source is same because only one object, but the references are different. You can create any number of reference variables, correct? Even if you want, you can create one more reference variable also, obj2. If you modify obj2 dot id some value, you'll be getting it. Next, we will go to next. I am removing this println statement because I am trying to print using print method. What we are doing in print method, listen. Inside print method also, what we are doing, we are doing same thing, right? We are printing it. Just go through print method. Inside print method, what you are doing, you are printing the id, but how you are accessing it, that matters. Either you can access e1 dot print or obj1 dot print, it doesn't matter, right? Correct. obj1 dot print, you can access anyway. Correct. I am accessing e1 dot print. Correct. Then second thing, I am accessing with obj1 dot print. Both will be called. Correct. Let's run it now. Let me run using debug mode. It will be quite interesting and easy also. How we are learning, that matters. Through e1 reference, we have modified to 100. It came here. What is the id value? 100. Then go back 200. Again you are accessing through obj1. Doesn't matter how you are accessing. Go back. Again it is printing to 200. Then again we are going with 300. Correct. This is where method comes into picture because we are trying to print repeatedly, right? We want to execute some statements repeatedly. Correct. We want to execute some statement repeatedly. That's where we are going with methods. Instead of repeating all these lines, what I do, I just keep in one method. Now you may wonder why we need two reference variable. Okay, I mean it can be pointed by any number of reference variable. Why we need, we will see. Correct. In the future classes we will see it. Now suppose if I let me go with one more, I'm going to make this is little more complex. I'm going with one more object, right? So now what will happen? We have created two objects, right? We have created two objects. One is employee one, second one is also E1 is pointing, E2 is pointing. Correct. Now let me make here something like this. I am assigning obj E2 equal to obj2. Correct. In that case, what will happen? E1 and obj1 both are pointing same object, right? Both are pointing same object. E1 and obj1 both are pointing same object. What about E2? E2 and obj2 both are pointing another object, correct? Both are pointing another object. See here. This is what is happened, right? Because you have assigned something like this. Now if you observe very closely, correct? Very closely if you observe. So let's go back to our code. See here, only two objects are there. E1 you assign to obj1. It means E1 and obj1 both are pointing same object. And you have assigned E2, correct? E2 and obj2 both are pointing. E2 and obj2 both are pointing another object. Correct? E2 and obj2 pointing another object. So let's go ahead here. Now, if I change anything through E1 and obj1, first object will be affected. First object will be affected. Correct? First object will be affected. If I change first object through E1 and obj1, in any one of the object, if you change, first object will be affected. Correct? First object will be affected. If I change through E2 and obj2, if I change through E2 and obj2, correct, second object will be affected. Second object will be affected. Correct? So these are the two objects, correct, which is pointed by four reference variable. First two reference variable E1 and obj1 both are pointing first object. Second reference variable, second two like E2 and obj2 both are pointing second object. E2 and obj2 both are pointing the second object. Correct? Okay, fine. So this is how, like, if you change something in E1 reference, let me make it very simple. Okay, I will, what I'm going to do, we will change with E1 and we will change with obj2. Correct? obj2 dot id. Correct? Let's make with 200. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm removing everything. Okay, what I do is I'm just call E1 dot print and obj1 dot print. Both should be giving same answer, right? Because both are pointing, both it should print 100. Both are pointing same object. Now I am printing some dotted line. Again, what I am doing, I am printing E2 dot print and obj2 dot print. Correct? obj2 dot print. Let's run now. You can run the output. Control F11. So you'll be seeing first two objects will be printing correct 100. Second two objects will be two reference variables. Second object will be getting 200. Correct? Fine. Let's go ahead. I am going to make little more complex. What we are going to do is, now I am going to call process method. Correct? On first particular object, first I am printing something. Okay, consider I have printed everything. Okay, now what I am going to do, I am printing some dash lines. Then again I am going to call process method on obj1 reference. What will happen? obj1 reference I am going to call process method. Which one is pointing obj1? obj1 is pointing to first object, right? obj1 is pointing to first object. obj1 is pointing to first object. Correct? So what we are doing, we are calling process method. So in process method, if I call, what is there in process method? It is simple. Inside process method, you are making id, you are modifying it. Id you are giving into 500. Now currently first object is having 100, second object is having 200. Now in process method you are making into 500, right? This is the change we are doing in the process method, correct? So let's run it now in debug mode. We can run it in debug mode. So two objects are created, correct? So E1 and obj1 is pointing same object, E2 and obj2 are pointing second object. Now you have assigned E1 equal to 100, E2 equal to 100, correct? We are printing both E1, correct? We are printing both E1 and we are printing E2, correct? All the values you are printing through all four references, correct? First two references are pointing first object 100, second two references are pointing second object. Now what I am doing, I am calling obj1 dot process. Obj1 dot process means first object. Inside process method, what is happening? You are modifying id equal to 500, correct? Inside process method, through obj1 dot process we called, correct? Obj1 dot process we called. Then you are modifying id equal to 500. So id is modified here. Id is modified here, correct? Process method just printing some statement. It is modifying id equal to 500. Now what you are doing, coming back, correct? After coming back, what you can do, again you can print all the values. Again you can print all the values, right? Correct? Again you can print all the values. Again you can print all the values, right? So after process method, again you are printing e1 dot print obj1 dot print. If I call e1 dot print method, it will go flow here. Print method internally prints id. What is the id now? If I access directly also e1 dot id, value will be 500. obj1 dot id, value will be 500, right? In order to avoid multiple statements, we are keeping only one print method. If I go inside print method, e1 dot print method, e1 dot print method, what it does? It is printing id, e1 dot print, correct? It is printing id here. What it does? It's just printing the id. What is the id here? Just printing the id, that's all. Printing the id, correct? So what is the id here? Id here is 500. Again, after printing it, correct, 500 we are getting, right? In output we are getting 500. Line by line we are experimenting, correct? After printing it, print method ends. We are again calling obj1 dot print. Through obj1 reference we are trying to print, correct? obj1 dot print, again print method, what it does? It prints id. What is the id? 500, right? Let's run again. See, here also you are getting 500. Now I am printing e2 dot print. Where is e2 object is pointing? Second object, right? E2 references is pointing second object. Here what we do? We are calling e2 dot print. Inside print method, what you are doing? Again you are printing the id, right? Again what you are doing? You are printing the id, correct? You are printing the id. So inside E2 pointing object, what we are doing is we are printing the ID. What is the ID here? ID is 200. If I access through E2.print or obj2.print, it will print 200 only. Correct? See, I'm going E2.print. What it prints? It prints 200 here. Again coming back, print method ends. Again we are executing obj2.print. obj2 also prints 200. What we are trying to understand? It's simple. So you can create any number of objects. Any number of objects can be any number of objects can be any number of objects can be pointed by any number of reference variable. Correct? I think it makes very easy. Correct? It makes very easy for us to understand. So this is how, like, if we understand this is in a better way like this, so we can experiment it. Correct? So changes are specific to object, right? Whatever we are changing, changes are specific to object. It will not affect another object. Correct? Here changes are specific to object. We can note down this point. Changes are specific to object, not globally, right? Changes are specific to objects. Correct? If one object is affected, another object will not be modified. If we change any value, that is instance variable value, right? If we change any instance variables value, correct? If we change any instance variables value, another object will not be affected because both are different, right? Another object value will not be affected. Another object will not be affected. So changes are specific to object. Changes are specific to object. If I change one object, correct? If I change first object, only changes will be affected first object. But one rule is I can change through any reference, whichever references are pointing in the first object, I can change any objects, correct? Through any reference. Particular object I can change through any pointing references, correct? So that's what we are saying here. So we have seen through two different things, correct? Now let's go ahead. In the previous class, we have seen not only, it's not necessary you only need to create in main method. Okay, now what I do, let me remove this second object. Okay, if I want, I can comment out or I can remove. Okay, let me remove it. Second object, let me remove it. Now what I'm going to do is, let me keep only one object, correct? What we are doing, we are having only one object, correct? We are printing this, output will be exactly same. So what we are doing here, we are printing only one value. We are calling print method. Print method basically prints, print method starts and id, and print method ends, correct? You can create objects anywhere, even inside, correct? Consider I am having process method here. Listen carefully. I am calling process method e1 dot. Suppose consider you are having one more method. Okay, instead of process method, what you are having is, consider you are having one more method. Apart from main method, you are having one more method. Okay, that method is public void init, correct? It's a init method. It's a static method. Consider it is a static method. Static method, public void init. Inside static method, what we are doing? So if you want, you can put main method starts and main method ends to understand the flow. Okay, main method ends. Same way I can mention here, process init method starts init method ends. Correct? Now what I'm going to do, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the statements to here. Possible, right? I can create object anywhere. It's not necessarily you need to create only inside. It is not necessarily that you need to only create object inside a particular main method only. Correct? Objects can be created anywhere. Correct? Objects can be created in any methods. Objects can be created anywhere. Correct? It means inside method also you can create. Correct? Inside a static method also you can create. Inside static method also you can create it. Possible, right? So here we are creating on this one. So in the main method, what you are doing? You are just calling that init method. How we can call init method? Init method we can call if it is available inside a class. Init method and main method both are available in the same class. If it is available in the same class, you can call directly or using class name, right? Client2.init. This is we have already seen. So let's run this now. What will happen? So when client2 is loading into memory, both methods will be loaded. JVM calls main method, right? So flow, let's run it in debug mode. Again, set the breakpoint. So press here. Where the flow started? Flow started in the main method, correct? So your F6, you are going inside init method. Init method starts, correct? You have created an object, assigned some value, calling print method, correct? Flow is going into print method, printing the ID. Print method ends. Then after that init method also ends here, right? Then flow is coming back to main method. Nothing is there in main method, print, main method ends, correct? In this program, we are uh, creating object in the static methods, correct? You can create anywhere. Now let's modify some more thing. So what I am doing, instead of static method, even you can create in static block also, right? Possible, right? Even you can create in static block also, right? Doesn't matter, you can create any way, right? Consider I am putting SIB1 starts, right? Then I am using SIB1 ends. So what will happen here? Listen this program little carefully. I am not having anything, correct? That's all my class. So what happens? We have already seen, suppose if you have missed static blocks, you can watch my previous recordings, correct? We have taken one session about static blocks or static initialization blocks. So when I am running this client, what will happen? Static, all this client will be loaded into stack memory. Before main method executes, correct? First static blocks will be executed from top to bottom, correct? So let's put it in debug mode. Before main method executes, static blocks will be executed, right? Let's run it. So what will happen here? If I run it, main method comes into last place. First static blocks, first it will check, is there a static block? Yes, if it is there, it will execute static block first. See here we are getting SIB1 starts. Inside static block also you can create objects. We have created objects, correct? Inside static block also you can create object, correct? Inside a static block also we are printing the value here, correct? SIB1 ends. Once completely static blocks are executed, then flow comes into main method, correct? Main method. See here, Main method also completed. This is possible. Only thing is static blocks will be executed before main method. Consider I am having two static blocks. Two static blocks. We have already seen that static blocks can be presented anywhere. Correct? We are having two static blocks. Correct? SIB2 starts, SIB1 starts. Now what will happen? You may wonder how it is possible to have same reference variable. To same reference variable, how it is possible? It is simple. See, here E1 reference variable is local to static block 1. Correct? E1 reference variable, is it local variable or not? Why it is called a local reference? Because it is defined inside a block. What is meant by local variable or local reference? If it is defined inside a method or block, that is called a local variable. Here E1 is a reference variable, but it is a local reference variable. Correct? E1 is defined where you have declared E1. What is the declaration? Class type and the variable name, right? You have declared inside static block 1. Correct? Scope is inside static block only. When I am running, what will happen? First static block 1 will be loaded into memory. It is creating on E1 object, adding the value, then printing some value, and it is ending. When it is ending, the object also, what will happen? So the reference variable will be also deleted, right? The reference variable also will be deleted because we cannot reach this E1 because it is local, right? It is very simple. What I can say, suppose consider you are having one int variable, right? X equal to 100. Even here also I can have one int variable, right? Same variable I can have here. Here like x is local to first static block. Same way like y, this x also specific to second static block. Correct? Second static block. So changes are here like scope will be on based on only one block. Correct? Now first static block will be executed. Once execution comes, completely this x variable will be removed, right? Second, what happens? Second static block will be executed. Again, it will create one more x, right? It is specific to blocks. Same way like x, E1 also specific to static block. It is defined inside one block, so it is local to that block. Correct? Okay, we will repeat it again. What I am telling before previous examples, I trust you have understood because we had only one static block, right? Let me remove second one. This you could have understand. Now let's go back. When I am running, first static block will be executed. Once static block executed, that object will no longer available, right? Later point of time, GC is a main thread, garbage collector is a main thread that comes into picture, that will remove from the heap memory, that we will see in our future sessions. But once static blocks executes, we cannot, because you are not storing this reference where somewhere. No, we are not storing. So this you cannot reach at all. Correct? Inside main method, if at all you want to reach E1, is it possible to reach E1? You cannot call E1 dot print. Correct? It is not possible because it will throw compile time error. E1 reference variable, it is not aware of it. Why? Because it is local to static block, first static block, right? So complete is done here. When comes into main method, this first reference is not at all coming into picture. Same way now, if you have two static block also you can have, right? First it will load first static block. After executing first static block, it is not at all in the picture. E1 is not at all in the picture. then it will execute the second static block. After executing second static block, here also E1 is not at all in the picture. Then it will come to main method, right? Main method also, if you want, you can print the same. Let's run it in debug mode. Let's run it. First static block, it we have seen in the static block, it will be executed from top to bottom. First one is starting, you are printing the output here parallelly, right? So what is the output? It is just printing print method. In first static block, we are printing print method. SIB1 ends, right? Then it checks, is there second static block? Yes, it is there. Second static block also started. You have created one more object and you have printed it, right? Then going back to main method. In main method also we are printing main method starts and main method ends. Correct? Main method starts and main method ends. So what we are trying to do here? Here we are using two static blocks. Inside static blocks also we can create any number of objects. It is possible.